What's up, my miners of intelligence and consciousness? I'm Rick Brooks, and this is Rick's Mind. Today with me, well, actually, I don't even need to do that because it's a fireside chat, son.
Hey.
It's DJ Don Juan DeMarco in the house. It is just the two of us.
Oh, yeah.
We can make
depressed
it
and ready to rant.
Whoa. There will be no bummer casts whatsoever over the course
That's always
of
a
this
challenge I'm willing to meet.
Dude, I'm feeling chipper. I'm feeling I just got strangled at practice, at jiu-jitsu practice.
That's a good thing,
Got
right?
the shit beat out of me. I'm coming off a week of excess in the city that never sleeps. That's the Big Apple. That's I got that right? It's called the city that never sleeps. Okay, cool.
That is correct.
And
I don't even need to Google that.
Yeah, you might need to Google that. It could be totally. I feel like it's called the city that never sleeps. The Big Apple.
Yeah, New York. That's New York. Yeah, because otherwise the only other place I would think that would be like.
It's the city that never sleeps because Sin City is Vegas. So I'm reasonably positive about this.
It is New York.
Sweet. Yeah, I spent 4 days in New York for the first time, and
That's pretty cool.
It was glorious. Yeah. I felt at home when I was there, which was weird.
Really?
I have a lot of friends that have been there, and they didn't really give me too many places to go or information, which is I was totally fine with. I'm more of a boots on the ground type of traveler. Yeah, I felt at home, man. Everyone there was so nice. The people were beautiful. The places were beautiful. The first night we went and saw a show, me and the lady, we saw Nubia Garcia in Crabin. I'm probably saying that name wrong.
I'm pretty jealous of that. That sounds like it would have been a pretty good show.
Oh, it was incredible. And then when we left, there were people selling that medical grade nitrous oxide. I wanted to do.
Sounds like you went to a fish show.
I wanted to do one, but I didn't. I kind of chickened out.
That's probably good.
No, I should have done it.
It can't be that bad for like one time.
Yeah,
unless you like way overdid it.
Oh, I would have probably overdone it. I was pretty hammered when I was leaving the concert. New York was incredible. Met up with the former podcast guest. Shout out to Timothy Smith, photographer. Early on. Nice. Met him at this place in Brooklyn called Texas Barbecue, which you probably just went to like a za place, but whatever. I'm always down for barbecue.
How was it? Was it a decent barbecue?
It's pretty good, man. I got hammered. I mean, to be honest, when I travel, I'm pretty much just like
you just heavily drink.
I do, and I just meet people. Like that's what I do. I drink. And I get in bars and start asking questions. And
how many? Just from the top of your head, how many show guests have we had that are former drunken meetups?
There's going to be more because we're pulling.
I feel like it's at least 5.
It's a combination of drunken meetups or people that I've met at the gym, people that I met. I don't know. We don't, to be honest, there's not a lot of outreach done. The show really is kind of morphed into me finding people to Sammy, you, myself, really just doing research online since we went remote.
We're all hermits now.
So we went full remote. But there's going to be some guests that I met from back there that are really cool. A few really good artists that I met in the park, and
nice.
That we're probably just going to talk philosophy. I ended up talking to one artist for like an hour and a half. No, maybe not that long. Like 30 minutes just about philosophy. The dude was wild, man. He's from Ecuador. Kind of got trapped in COVID. Or got trapped in New York during COVID, and it's just like, I'm making it, man. I'm selling my own.
That happened to. It wasn't in Ecuador. It was in Costa Rica. My brother-in-law's ex-wife she had gone to Costa Rica for like a school project or something, photography project, and then got stuck there when COVID happened and they closed the borders, and she like ended up just living in Costa Rica for like a year.
That'd be wild. I mean, I don't think I would be mad about that. I feel
No, I
that's
mean,
a good
there could be
yeah.
much worse places to get stranded.
Yeah, I feel it all depends on like what you were leaving. Like if you had a family and kids and shit, that would suck. But if it was, I mean, I have a girl, so that would suck for me and her. But at this point in my life, I feel like I'd be like, well, I guess I'm here for a year. It's going to be long distance, and at least I'm going to learn Spanish. That's going to be cool. Hopefully you were in some like remote place
that would suck
where no one
though.
spoke English.
Yeah, I feel like in Costa Rica, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Costa Rica is pretty English literate since there's a lot of foreigners that have been moving there.
How long?
But if it wasn't, oh my God, that would be terrible.
No, I think I would love that. How long do you think it would take you to learn a foreign language if you had no choice?
I feel like most everyone can learn a foreign language enough for survival within a year.
I think
I'd be like, you could be like conversational in like maybe a year and a half.
No, dude,
2 years, and probably, good in a year.
6 months. I really believe in 6 months I'd be fully conversational and pretty close to fluent.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of spoke Danish and almost moved there, didn't you?
Yeah. I've lost all of that. I lost it all. It was starting to get real intense. That's a whole other story. But I think I love to talk to people. So me not being able to talk, and hopefully in this imaginary scenario, hopefully I would have I was going to say limited internet access. I'm going to say that because I really think that relying on the brain,
it just forces you.
I think it would force you even more. And that would be so stressful though. You'd be so frustrated, but all your brain's energy would be focused on like solving this problem. So I really think you could be fluent. There's a good book about this. I believe it's called A Land So Strange. And it's about these Spanish explorers that end up shipwrecked on the Gulf Coast in Tejas. And they end up they were kind of naked and have to travel across America. I believe they made it all the way into not the Dakotas, but like into this, like through the Southwest, like Colorado, Arizona, maybe, Colorado. I don't know. I don't really know the states. All the way back to California / like west of the west coast of Mexico. This was in the, I'm going to say the 1600s.
Oh, wow.
15 or 1600s. I can't remember.
Yeah. Because what the Spanish moved into New Mexico when in the 1500s, I think? Yes, they did. I mean, we could be wrong there, but around that time. I'll look that up because I should know that. My parents used to live in New Mexico.
So they one of the guys ended up being like a translator. There was a slave too, and they all ended up being medicine men and ended up traveling around and speaking with one guy ended up picking up multiple languages, and they were all equal. And then when they found the Spaniards again, they ended up, it was kind of sad. Like the brother was you're a slave now. And it was terrible.
New Spain was founded in 1563.
Yeah. So this would have been like 1600s is when this went down. Yeah. A Land So Strange. Read that book if you ever get a chance. It's fantastic book.
That sounds really cool. Like just even the distance they covered.
Yeah.
Which is not exactly easy terrain, or would be easy to to traverse on foot now, let alone in, the 1600s.
Yeah. Well, the natives helped him out. And one of the guys tried to figure out a way to, he's like, we're fucking everything up and we're being cruel and doing horrific things. And there's a way that we can do this. It'll be easy. To be honest, it's a spoiler alert. Most of these people died horrible deaths. I just want to throw that out.
I feel like most people in that era did.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, especially like if you were in the in the Southwest like that.
Yeah.
Especially as an invader.
Yeah, yeah, it was all terrible. But yeah, they were like, for a while there, they were seen as medicine men for all these tribes, and they would heal
Mhm.
people, and that's how they kind of got along for a while. They were slaves for quite a long time. But I
Yeah.
remember one of the things I remember is they would travel when they were slaves. They would travel with they got kind of got split up, but they would all meet, and the natives were collecting prickly pears, which
Oh
is a
yeah.
fruit of a cactus. And it was a big thing. They would all meet up, and then the coastal tribes would trade like shells, and the people from the interior would trade skins and stuff. So it was a real
Oh, that's
big
cool.
trading post. And then when they became medicine men and healers, they just got to move freely from tribe to tribe, and they would heal people, and then they would get food, and they would just continue their quest.
Well, that's so
Super
cool.
interesting. I mean, I feel like a few of those people ended up, I think like two of them ended up making it back to Spain. But for the ones that stayed or tried to change the way that they were doing things, they got backstabbed, or the slave ended up getting murdered by the natives because he kind of got a little greedy towards the end. He was leading an expedition and was like, I want all this shit, son. And he got murdered. So he got murked, but it was a good book. I would highly recommend. Interesting read.
It sounds cool. I'm gonna have to look it up.
You'd love it. But yeah, back to the trip. It was fantastic. 10 out of 10. Wall Street was cool. Harlem, I spent the whole day in Harlem.
Oh yeah.
I took I just wanted to go to the National Jazz Museum. Check that out. And they're doing it's kind of it was okay. It was a Disney exhibit, but I thought it was kind of lame because it was Disney.
What was that? What was that movie? That Pixar movie that just came out?
That's kind of what it was promoting. But
okay.
it was. I personally like that they're doing a movie on jazz to get little kids.
I've heard that it's good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very good.
I'm such a jazz head that I'm probably gonna want. To be fair, I don't think I can call myself a jazz head. Like, I enjoy the music. I can't read music, understand what they're doing when they're performing live. But as far as like really digging into the history of jazz, I feel like I'm very ignorant. And
I studied jazz in college, and I wouldn't consider myself a jazz head. Like, being a jazz musician, and like it's less a trade and more a lifestyle. Honestly, it's like a lifestyle. It's a philosophy. It's everything.
Yeah. Another thing that's wild about being on the East Coast is when I was at the Harlem Haberdashery. Shout out to them. That's where I got this dope shirt. I was talking to the guys like, oh yeah, Robert Glasper comes in here. He just lives on such and such street. And I was like, you fucking know Robert Glasper? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, really? Like, where's tell me where he lives? No, I didn't do that.
I feel like that's a New York thing because
it is.
A good friend of mine lived in New York he moved here from Brooklyn. And I forget, I think he said he lived there for like 7 or 10 years. And like, it was one of my teachers in college, and it would be like every story he would tell, like when somebody mentioned Reggie Watts, he tells a story. Oh yeah, I bought a pedal from a guy who bought a looper pedal from Reggie Watts, or like he knew Eric Wareheim.
Oh, wow.
Just because he lived in the same neighborhood that he did in Brooklyn, and just all the like random shit that it's kind of cool, but New York just seems so intimidating a place.
Oh no, you'd love it. Well, you would love it. There's so many artists there. Like you can.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I went to multiple comedy shows. The comedy scene is pretty tight in New York. I will say this: some of the comedians, they think that they're like raunchy and offensive, and I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're still kind of scared. You're still playing scared. You're still playing a little scared. Like, maybe that's just because I have a real dark, morbid sense of humor. But they're like,
yeah,
did I offend you?
Maybe.
Like, I say wild. Just like, bitch, that nothing you have said.
I hate it when people do that.
Wild.
They try to be edgy like that,
Well, no, I love it when people try to be edgy. But if you're going to say you're edgy, fucking be edgy. Like, really thread the line. Maybe say, but that's what I like. And the world that we're in right now is it's not really geared toward that.
Yeah.
But the thing that, being a fan of comedy, in my opinion, the place that an unfunny joke and maybe a rude joke comes from is the same exact place that a really funny joke comes from. It's an attempt to be funny, and sometimes you're gonna land on your ass. I could never be a stand-up comedian because I'm just,
oh God, no, that sounds awful.
I'm just not that funny, not at all. But I think
I think I'm I can be funny, but I wouldn't say that I'm like comedian funny. I feel like being a stand-up comic, you have to like have a really good sense of humor, but you also have to be really quick on your feet and like be really good at like working a crowd.
Yeah, my biggest fear would be if someone heckled me. Like I wouldn't know what to say. I feel like I'd get angry or be like, I worked so hard on this set. How fucking dare you? Like
there was a video I saw, I think it was Bo Burnham, that somebody like heckled him like he was going to play a song, and somebody yelled like they didn't want him to play that song, and he just like went off on them like, oh yeah, go yell at a 19-year-old kid's dream. You know, I feel like that would be roasting people when they just like when they heckle you would probably be the only part of being a stand-up comic I could actually be decent at.
I think that'd be the worst part for me.
Oh really?
I just don't know. Like, 'cause you get so thrown. I'd get so thrown off my groove that I don't know what I would say. I'd be worried about what I was going to say would not be funny. What I think the secret is taking a deep breath. And I mean, if you're on stage in front of a bunch of people and people are, just staring at you, obviously you're going to remain calm, and then you can take a breath and realize that you're in control. And then I think if you took a second, you could probably think of something to really get at them. But I feel like where I am right now, I'd panic and be like, fuck you, you piece of shit.
I mean, I've never done comedy, and I've never done like acting or anything, but I've performed music on stage a bunch of times, on my own and in groups and everything. And it is weird. Like I assume something similar probably happens for comedians, because like whenever I perform, like I don't like being the center of attention a whole lot. I'm not like uncomfortable with it, but it's not something I prefer. But when I'm on stage, it's a totally different experience, because I just like zone out completely and just totally focus on the music and everything, and don't even realize it, or don't even like realize that people are watching me. Unless something goes wrong, and then I interact with people and just chat with them or something. But I feel like being a comedian, it's like you're kind of automatically like in an adversarial relationship with your audience.
Yeah, you are. Well, they're taking you on a journey. You're going on a journey. So while I was on vacation, what the fuck did you get into?
My dog might be pregnant. So that's been stressful. The Starbuck, my 8-year-old female, she when she was in heat about 6 weeks ago, and I was working, and I had blocked off all the doors but the room that I was in, and they got into one of the rooms, and I had to I heard them, and I went and found them, and I had to literally rip one of them out of the other. So, yeah. So that's been a whole thing.
What kind of dog was it?
Standard poodle.
No. That was making sweet love to your dog.
Oh, and my other dog.
So you're gonna probably have purebred poodles?
Potentially. I don't really know.
Not necessarily a bad thing.
No, we'll see how it goes. But that happened. I had a head cold. I recorded a couple concerts, super exciting times. I got a new video game. I started playing Crusader Kings 3, which is really fucking cool. I feel like if you played a video game, you would love it, because it's a strategy game, and it's a historical one. So it's set between like the year 900, and I think it goes through the year like 13 something, 1400 maybe.
Ooh.
And you play as, it's this like historically accurate like kingdom manager, basically, that you can pick any monarch from like a king or an emperor all the way down to like the duke of a county, and play like where you have to manage relationships and like have children, build dynasties, like arrange marriages, go to war, and it's all like historically accurate and exciting. It's pretty cool. Highly recommended.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man. You had a head cold?
Yeah.
What happened to the ears?
Ears? Oh, they're on my desk. I haven't put them back. I've had like, so when I do these, so in my day job, I'm a freelance photographer and audio engineer. And so I recorded a concert for the university's wind symphony. And I had 2 gigs in 2 days doing the same thing. And like when I do these gigs, it's like I have to break down my entire studio and take it with me. And it's ridiculously exhausting to do, like mentally and physically, honestly, too. Because when I do them at the university's big concert hall, it's a fucking massive building, and I have to like run back and forth and up and down the stairs, putting everything together. And so it takes a hell of a lot out of me. So like, I really didn't do too much, honestly, other than, you know, work on those projects and then play Crusader Kings and, you know, try to find out if my dog is pregnant. So it's super varied and exciting times here in the Thompson household.
It's crazy. Well, hold on. I got to do a quick ad read real quick.
Oh, ad read.
Yeah. So we are brought to you by Luke Oil, Russia's largest oil company. Always moving forward to meet new challenges. It is a responsible operation, and our headquarters are in Moscow. Please go type in code RIK, that's RIK, to get 10% off your stock purchases. That's Luke Oil. And listen,
as I say, is this like back in the day when we used to do ad reads for Bang Energy?
No, I don't. I don't. Listen, there's something that we need to talk about.
Okay.
It's a business we're trying to run here. And they approached me. A lot of people have been, a lot of their websites have been banned, and they're like, you're a fucking massive show, and we need you to do an ad read. And I want everyone to know that I'm going to donate some of this money to charity that we've gotten from Luke Oil, code RIK, 10% off for oil futures.
Is this futures or crude oil?
It's crude oil. It's like, listen, we all need oil. We're all feeling the squeeze at the pump, and this is, I'm gonna donate this money to the Canadian truckers.
What about the American? You don't want to support the American Freedom Convoy or whatever they were called?
I do, but I don't know. We haven't frozen anybody's bank accounts, so that's so fucked up, dude.
They didn't do it. Did you? So I've sent you videos from the YouTube Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. He did a whole hour long like documentary basically where they drove in their RV and met up with the Freedom Convoy, I think in Oklahoma somewhere, and drove with them all the way to DC. They didn't even do anything. They got to DC and they drove around the Beltway.
Nice.
That was it.
Well, hello, COVID. My issue with, and I don't know a lot about it, so I probably shouldn't be talking about it, but like my understanding of the situation is that in Canada, they just froze people's bank accounts for, that's fucked up. Like that's insane.
They seized bank accounts. They enacted some basically what happened is exactly or very similar to what happened in the United States after 9/11.
Yeah, they had a little Patriot
they
Act
invoked some like emergency parliamentary law or privileges that the prime minister has that they were able to freeze like bank accounts. They seized crypto accounts because that's how they were getting all of their funding, was mostly through Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, like how come we all need to freak out about that? Well, it's in Canada, but like it doesn't matter which side. It doesn't matter which side you're on or whatever. Whether
Canada,
you agree.
If Canada is turning heel, like we're kind of fucked.
Yeah, well. I mean,
Canada's supposed to be the one that it's just like, whatever. But
we have a. I mean, to be honest, I think one of the things, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you start railing against maybe the mainstream or whatever narrative people want you to think is moving us forward, whatever, you start making noise, you will very quickly find out how little of freedom one actually has. They should not be like I hope that Canada is fucking outraged, and I hope it's not just like the whatever the right. It should be the right, center, left. Like if just upset. Because you don't agree with them, like the fact that the government fucking seized money from you because you were peacefully protesting, that's crazy.
That's terrifying.
It's terrifying. Yes, like fuck. Yeah. That's so nuts. Like, whew, man, what a wild world. Like that's, and I also don't appreciate. Yeah, we're this podcast is off the rails right now. I also don't appreciate. I also don't appreciate the shutting down of RT News. I don't like that we're not talking to Russia. I feel like in this time, we need a fucking statesman, not an ideologue. Like we need someone that's like, hey, what you're doing is bad, and let's talk about it. Like that's one of the things I liked about Obama is like, I'm not going to, if we have problems with someone, I'm not going to be like, we're not talking to you. Fuck you. Nope. Not until you come to the table. Not until you do what I want. No, we gotta talk. Yeah. We got nukes involved.
I think this whole bullshit with Russia and with Ukraine, more so than any situation, at least that in my adult lifetime. Now, Kosovo was a little different, and was kind of similar to this, except we were the aggressors, or NATO was. This has just laid bare the fact that NATO is just a weapons selling organization. It's like, it's painfully obvious that even if Ukraine would get into NATO, it's like, do you not think that there are tiered memberships to NATO? Like if, Germany or Poland is attacked, do you really think that would be that they would get the same response as if like Lithuania was attacked, or if Finland joined, if Finland was attacked?
Yeah.
They're not going to they're not going to throw the kitchen sink to defend Estonia. So they don't care. They just want to sell weapons.
Will you look up and see if we shut down RT America? I may have spread propaganda, and I hope I didn't. I need to be very careful here.
This is RT America ceased productions and laid off most of its staff a week ago. So
yeah, okay, I wasn't wrong. That's like super. I don't know if that was
it's a Russian state-owned.
No, it is. It is, and I'm not.
I don't know if it's directly state-owned or through shell companies, but it's
Russian state media. Like I'm pretty positive of that. My issue is, I was reading a lot of RT News and watching their YouTube channel and other Russian things because I wanted to get the other perspective instead of just the Western one. Like I think like legitimately, and we've said this on the Benjamin Crollo podcast, what he's doing is fucking wrong, but there's also a reason he's doing it. And I need to know like what their people are saying. Like I don't fucking trust the government. You've listened to the show enough, you know that. So I don't trust, and I don't trust our media sources. So I figure if I can see what their propaganda is saying and what our propaganda is saying, and obviously you and I both know the histories very, very well of that you know more so than I do, but I would say I'm more educated than the average person on history and Eastern European history and Soviet history, that we could finally get a narrative. But when we're shutting shit down that is access to information that I would like to look at, that's a problem. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not how you don't get anywhere when you're just like, no, we're pulling off of all of our social media. We're pulling I just think that like that type of behavior that like we're just very, very quick, like very, very quickly, just like we want to just cut people out. It kind of reminds me of that, like a episode of Black Mirror. I feel like we're heading there.
Yeah.
I think it's called
we are there. We've been there for
White Christmas. It's the episode called White Christmas.
Yeah.
Where you've seen that one. I feel like that's where we're at now. But instead of it being like, it's like our government's like, no, you cannot read that anymore. It'll hurt your brain. It's like, bitch, don't fucking tell me.
I mean, I think that's the difference between like, say, sci-fi media and classical sci-fi media versus like modern day unfortunate reality, is that in sci-fi, for the most part, at least, everything was like, everybody thought it would be the state doing everything. And I mean, it is the state doing everything, but it's the state doing everything through corporations and business. And I mean, like, well, like RT America or RT News is just Russian state media propaganda. It's no less state propaganda than ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, MSNBC. All of the big news channels here are, especially when it comes to foreign policy and anything that has to do with America having an adversarial relationship with someone, especially Russia, because they've like Russia's a non-issue. Russia's not a threat to us. Russia was never a threat to us during the Soviet Union. They were a threat to Europe and to Asia, but nothing was going to happen here.
That's not true, because I mean,
it was mostly posturing.
They were trying to move ballistic nuclear weapons into Cuba. So
right, but how much of that had to do with like trade and economic? I mean, most of the Cold War had to do with economics. It had very little to do with the military. The military was just like
yes, 100%. But I'm saying like they wanted to threaten us and like. I
think no, not necessarily a threat, but no actual like actionable legitimate threat.
No, you can't say that, because we almost went to nuclear war with them during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So there was definitely a fucking threat of total annihilation. Sure. So you can't say that there wasn't.
At least at this time.
At this point in time, I mean, there's definitely still a threat of nuclear weapons. Like
there's a threat of nuclear war, but this time at least a whole hell of a lot more people have nukes than just us and the Russians.
That's a good point. I think in the 60s it was probably just predominantly us.
It was mostly. I mean, I think
UK
up until
probably had some, but they weren't. Yeah, they're not. If you really
it was very, very few, and I think a few other countries. I'm not sure exactly how many, but a few other countries, and they didn't have nearly the amount that either of us did.
It's rather interesting to think about, right? The fact that America still very much is a superpower, and that so many other countries, and I think this is almost, I don't know if it's a good thing. I'm going to say it's a good thing. I like American hegemony because I'm American. It's like, it's probably going to work out for me, right?
You live in the imperial core. Of course you would like
it. But it's interesting because England learned during the Eisenhower administration, when they did their shady shit with France and against Egypt. It was France, Israel, and the United Kingdom, and it had to do with the I'm going to say it. Oh, please, Jesus. The Suez Canal. And they wanted that.
No, that's exactly what it was.
Seized it. And Eisenhower was like, I will fucking sell all of the British bonds that I'm holding and cause your economy to tank if you don't fuck off. And ever since then, it's like, okay, so we can't really explore our own agenda politically. we can't on geopolitics. We're always aligned with the United States because they have kind of a trump card over us.
Yeah.
And it's been that way. It still is. Like, we are just the big dogs. And
I think it's that way, but it's coming to an end.
We're on
the backside.
I don't know that it is, and I don't know that it is in our lifetime. I'm not qualified enough to speak on that.
I think it might be sooner than you think, because these are all things. It's like the economy as it is now is teetering on the edge of like very bad stuff. And everything that's happening now seems like it happened very suddenly because of COVID, but all of this stuff was like setting up for this, like building this house of cards since the 80s. And it was just going to take one thing to knock it down. And it just happened to be COVID.
What are you referring to? Knock what down?
Well, the house of cards, like we had, everything in the United States and now the world economy is based on the, what do they call it? The just-in-time
delivery,
supply chain model, where you only have a few weeks worth of stock of whatever you have on hand, because the idea is to maximize profit over stability. Mm-hmm. That affects everything from food to supplies to weapons to ammunition for our military. Look, just basing everything off of hyper capitalism for the past 40 years has put us in this situation where we are where our economy essentially by design exists on a razor's edge, because you can maximize profit over, back stocks and being able to weather a storm and keep going. It's not a zero growth economy. It's a maximal growth economy, which is inherently unstable just as much as a collapsing economy is. And to speak to your statement about, I think we might be closer to the backside or the end of the American hegemony, or hegemony, whatever the word is. Hegemony. Thank you. Today, the Saudis just announced that they are very seriously considering taking yuan from China when they buy oil, or when the Chinese buy oil from the Saudis over the dollar. And if that happens, which, given the, rapidly accelerating rate of inflation, that's kind of the first domino to fall.
Saying to make the yuan the
Chinese yuan.
Yeah. I'm going to call it the Chinese dollar because I feel like we're pronouncing the name wrong.
I believe it's yuan because the Japanese currency is the yen. Okay, and I believe it's yuan.
The yuan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna still call it the Chinese dollar.
That's fair.
So they're I don't know if that would necessarily make the Chinese dollar the world's reserve currency, because that's not what I'm saying. If we lose that, we're kind of fucked. But Chinese
I'm not
dollar,
saying that the yuan would become the reserve currency of the world. What I'm saying is that's the first, the number one most important resource in the world, or one of them, suddenly not being used, having the American dollar being used as a reserve currency, is the first thing to happen that could and very might accelerate a trend of people changing to either other currencies or just having a transition time where stuff is mostly done locally until the next big currency is.
Do you know why that is
gone? They said that it is. I'll have to find the article and send it to you, but it's for if China is selling Chinese shale oil to Saudi Arabia, or Saudi Arabia is selling their oil to China, they are talking about taking Chinese currency in both transactions versus doing everything in the dollar, because the Chinese dollar is much more stable now compared to the American dollar because of the like huge swings in value and the last like 6 months of inflation it's been going through.
Interesting. I did not
like we've
know
been
this.
what is inflation
It's like
was
6%.
I think last month was like no, it was like 8.
No way. It's like 6
Yeah.
points. It's like 6.
No, last month it was like month over month it was 8%.
Pull it up. Pull it up, Joni.
Let's see.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. I follow this stuff quite often.
God, I hope you're wrong, dude.
I just have to find it. No, unfortunately, I'm not. So inflation March 10th. Year over year, March inflation, 12 months, 7.9%. The highest rate of inflation since 1982.
Jesus Christ.
February was 7.5. January was 7. December was 7. It's been teetering between like high 6s to now low 8.
Wow.
For the past 6 months. That's why gas has gone up so much, which is
crypto
horseshit because
going up?
Gas is the lowest. The price of gas, I think, the dollar a barrel is cheaper now than it was 6 months ago.
Dog, we're fucked. They're not gonna. Yeah. It's not gonna. The demand is up.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're probably just getting. Does that mean that fracking's back on in the Dakotas?
I hope not.
Oh, baby, let's go. Let's go, dude. Let's drill in the Arctic. Yes. Let's open up the Keystone Pipeline, son.
What? We're on the edge, if not have already started feedback cycles for global warming. Dude, so fuck it. Might as well go out in literal flames.
Let's go out in a blaze of glory, dude.
A literal blazing glory.
Dude, let's get biblical, son. Let's bring
Might as well burn it down while we can.
Dude, I honestly though, I have been just leaving my car on like at night just to end it all. You know,
I'm doing to take the shot. Hopefully, it wafts in from the garage.
I'm doing my fair share. To help. I wish Kyle was on. What are you doing?
God.
What are you talking about? I leave my water running all the time. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
It is amazing, like how inflation has been so heavy the last few months that it's like gas prices, at least here in Oregon. I haven't noticed it. It's actually right now it's cheaper. Gas is cheaper than it was about 8 months ago. But it's since the gas prices rebounded from the pandemic, it's been like plus or minus 10 cents from like $4.60 something.
I've just kind of been siphoning gas. That's how I've been getting it so far.
It's efficient.
It is. And
it's a fun game. Are you going to drink gasoline or not?
Well, no, I've got let's call it a rabbit pump. You just go pull up.
Oh, you got the real thing. Okay.
We have to siphon gas now. When gas prices reach a certain level, we just start siphoning gas. I haven't paid for gas.
I wonder if the sales of those pumps have gone up since since inflation has started.
Dude, I would be so pissed if someone stole my gas.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure it's happened.
It's got to be happening.
That would really piss me off so much.
Yeah. Jesus, that would suck.
That would be the worst.
No, it's who fucking knows, dude? Like this Russia-Ukraine stuff, I think is getting uglier by the day. Like Russia's essentially just bombing hospitals now.
Really?
Yeah. They bombed a hospital on when was it? On Monday, I think.
Dude, but here's the thing, man. When you talk about this stuff, I just look at it completely different. Like I don't look at it in the same sense that I'll say this: war is stupid. It's pointless, and I don't. It's stupid. It should be outlawed. It's dumb. But if we're gonna do it, if we're going to do war
for the gold,
if we're going to do war, which we shouldn't, and I cannot reiterate this enough, should not fucking do it. But if we're gonna do it, total war. That's how I would wage it. No, I would wage it total war. I would take the same ideas as Curtis LeMay and Sherman, and it's like everyone is the enemy, and I'm going to make it as brutal as humanly possible so I can hopefully shorten the duration of the war to save blood. Dude, that's what we did.
I mean,
in World War II,
horrible,
we
but
firebombed cities,
true.
bro.
Yeah.
Like we do not have any fucking
we
moral
flattened
high
Germany
ground.
and Japan.
We don't have any moral high ground to talk about how war is waged.
Oh yeah.
And if you're a general and it's like, all right, I want to save as many of my troops as possible, then I'm going to go total war, and I'm leveling cities, bringing in the troop. Like, you know, I don't know. It's like everyone.
You're not wrong, considering the United States was,
carpet bombing,
perpetrating war crimes as early as 15 years ago.
I know, dude. It's stupid. We shouldn't do it. Should be illegal. But if we're gonna do it, it's like it's awful. It's terrible. But I look at it at 10,000 foot view, very cold and calculated. It's like I think I caught some news story about an airstrike near Poland, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Why?"
Yeah, I saw that. It was a military installation, though.
Doesn't even matter what it was. Let's take a step back. How the fuck do you think Ukraine is being supplied by the West?
Yeah.
Probably through border states, right? And if I'm a Russian general, I don't want those new weapons and new recruits from the West or whatever, these volunteer guys. I don't want them getting to the front. I'm going to try and stop the supply line at its source. I'm going to try and disrupt that.
It was like when it's like, what was that last week when the big brouhaha was that Poland wanted to they wanted to trade something like 10 or 20 MiG fighter jets that they had. They wanted to sell them to NATO and buy American whatever the current class of fighter jet is,
like an F-35 or something.
Like F-35s. Yeah.
Did we do
and
it?
sell them and then give the MiGs to Ukraine so that Ukraine could use them. And it was just like, do you not think that Russia's not going to know that the MiGs came from Poland? Because the whole world knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, and like, as awful as, your mindset about total war is, you're not wrong.
No.
And also, like, the whole thing where people are just like, it's awful that Russia bombed a hospital and has been bombing evacuation routes. That's really shitty. But does this surprise anybody?
Yes.
It's the Russians.
Dude, it doesn't. We would do the same shit. We have done the same shit.
We did the same shit in Afghanistan.
I don't know if we did in Afghanistan. I don't know.
How many weddings have we droned?
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Mistakes are made. Like wars, it's stupid. We shouldn't have it. It's pointless. It's dumb. Everyone goes to a meat grinder and it's going to turn into a meat grinder. So I get so fucking, God damn it. You got me wound up now, but I get so frustrated when people are like, I just can't. Dude, pick up a fucking book right now and read about how war is waged and how nasty and vile and awful it is. Because like if your first introductory to peer-to-peer conflict is this fucking conflict like right now, I have nothing to say to you. You're an idiot.
Right, yeah.
Seriously. Think about the Kokoda Trail and the Australians were fighting the Japanese in jungle. It was horrible. Absolutely.
Dude, you don't even have to go that far. Think about NATO in Kosovo against the Russians.
I don't know
that was brief but intense.
I don't know as much about that. And I probably should look into it.
I need to know exactly what it is, but I know it was an instance that I'm fairly certain. I know for a fact NATO was the aggressor, but I believe the instance was that NATO shot down a Russian fighter jet or threatened. Ooh. No, I think they actually did. And then it was in 99
real quick.
Yeah. And it was like this close to NATO going to war with Russia.
I didn't know.
But I mean, NATO's whole existence has been to antagonize Russia and prevent Russia from expanding or even existing.
Again, let me reiterate this to the audience. We are not for this at all, period.
No.
It's what Russia invading a sovereign nation
fuck
is
Russia,
terrible.
Fuck Putin.
Yeah.
But fuck NATO too.
Yeah. But and also and fuck Condoleezza Rice saying,
oh yeah.
Anytime a nation invades a sovereign and one nation invades a sovereign nation, that is a violent bitch. What did we do to Iraq?
What happened to Kuwait? Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, Vietnam.
Yeah. Well, listen,
we should never have been involved in Vietnam.
I'll accept Afghanistan. 9/11.
Why?
Right, 9/11.
Yeah,
get
but
it.
we should have been invading Saudi Arabia. There were no Afghans involved in 9/11.
Dude, you're so fucking crazy, dude. Is Bin
wrong?
Laden Saudi Arabian, isn't he?
Yes, he's
fuck.
a member of the Bin Laden family. The Bin Laden family is
they're rich
like
from oil money.
No, they're rich from construction. The Bin Laden Group is one of the biggest construction firms in the world.
Jesus Christ.
He's a trust fund kid who got bored and decided to be a CIA agent.
So crazy.
During the Mujahideen War.
I know. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We are not going the Mujahideen. We're not going to go down it. No.
This episode of the Riks Mind podcast is dedicated to the brave fighters of the Mujahideen.
We paid to fight the Russians. Oh man. Oh shit.
It's like when we gave weapons to the Mujahideen. How'd that turn out?
Yeah,
we're giving weapons to the Nazis in Ukraine.
I know, dude.
I wonder how that's going to turn out in 20 years.
God, dude, it's so fucked.
It's so fucked.
It's all so fucked, man. There's so much going on. People are so stupid. I'm not saying I'm the smartest tool in the shed, but
no, but it's hard to I will cut Americans some slack. This bit is that the way that Americans complain about Russians, fuck Russians. They're not protesting Putin. They're not protesting this war. There are people protesting in Russia, except they're getting immediately thrown into prison.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are either protecting themselves or they have no idea because Russian state media just is all propaganda. The same fucking thing is happening in the United States. We may not get thrown in prison for protesting, but the media is all state media.
Go to YouTube and type in, I think it's 1420. It's a Russian channel with English subtitles, but it's just a YouTube channel. And the guy just interviews Russian people off the street and asks them questions about what's going on in Ukraine and what are their thoughts. And most people are like, this is fuck. Some people get really scared, and some people there's a few people that are
because they know it's please don't tell anybody that I'm on this because I'll get arrested.
There's a few people that are awesome. They're like our age, maybe a little younger, and they're hilarious. They're being so sarcastic, and I can't think of the interview, but one guy's basically he's like, I'm 100% with Putin. This war is completely justified. 100%. Putin is infallible. Putin. He's infallible. He's a great leader. He is and his girlfriend's just shaking her head and kind of giggling.
She's oh.
He's he's doing it in a way that's
that's the Russian version. Yeah. That's the Russian version of the MAGA guy dating an alt girl who is not into Trump.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's being sarcastic. He's making a joke. He's like, no, he's just the war is totally justified. This is the most glorious thing of all time. He gets so ridiculous, but to not get in trouble, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of the most interesting stuff I've seen in the last couple of weeks has been in China. Interviews just on the street, same kind of style of interviews with average Chinese people about what's going on. And it's funny because it's very similar to how you would see it shake out if they were interviews with with Americans. Because it's the only ones who are just yo, this is great. Fuck Ukraine. Putin's fine. It's all boomers that are so into it, or the older people. But most of the kids, it's kind of I don't know, 70-30 against 4.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, which is it's interesting to see because it's they've got to be in the same kind of mindset that the United States was in the 1930s, where it was they're right on the cusp of being the power country in the world by a large margin. I'm sorry to I'm not really sorry to interrupt you, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. Own it, dude.
Yeah. Do you know? I stopped paying attention to the Russia Ukraine. I just kind of look at headlines now, the pop up or whatever. I went a little bit too far with it in the early days, and now I'm bored. But what I'm curious about is that I read a headline and I just didn't want to go down that road and get all involved again. But it said that Russia asked China for military aid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is that
they did. That was confirmed last week, 5 days ago.
How do we know that is this intelligence, and did they?
I think some intelligence,
support?
and I think some intelligence. I don't know exactly what they asked for. I know they said everything I've seen has been military support, but I know that people have found Chinese MREs in Ukraine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
they're just sending. Well, I mean, do they not have enough food to feed? I'm very do they not have enough
honestly,
food to feed
I think
their troops, or what's? I'm really curious about this.
I think it's probably. I mean, like, Russia is an oligarchy, just like the United States is an oligarchy, except that the wealth is. Don't roll your eyes at me.
I'm gonna roll. I refuse to. I did roll my eyes. Even
though both are oligarchies, right? Russia is still a much more extreme version because it is what Putin, and then probably like less than 100 other people that have probably an overwhelming percentage of the amount of wealth in that country. They're not able to. They're siphoning money off the state. They're not even funding their military to supply them.
I mean, to my knowledge, Putin definitely upgraded his armed forces with the body armor and several other things. I used to know a lot more than I do now, but I'm very curious as to what kind of aid the Chinese are, because I don't think they want to I don't think they want to play their hand yet. I think they're kind of. I mean, I think they're definitely like pro Russia, like let's go. But if they're finding Chinese MREs, but I wonder if they would actually send military support. Like I
think it would have to get desperate.
That would be super interesting. It'd be very embarrassing
if China directly gets involved. It is the same as if NATO gets directly involved. It's like it's fucking on. The world's over.
No,
you know,
I don't know if we could go.
on.
No, I don't think we could. I don't know.
I think that would be uncharacteristically stupid from China.
I just don't think they would.
They're playing Russia the way the United States. China and Russia are playing the same playbook that the United States has done for like the last 50 to 60 years, where it's just puppet states and. You know, what do they call those? Proxy wars.
It would, it would be asymmetrical warfare is basically what's going on.
This is kind of Russia is kind of a puppet state for China, or like on the doorstep of
the relationship has flipped, because it used to be the USSR was the dominant one and China was subservient, and then the Maoists were like, "You're not communist enough, you bitch."
Yeah,
and they separated. But
you didn't murder as many people as we did.
I'm very curious about that development, and I don't want to get, because I look into things and then I get fucking jazzed about it. Like, I'm like, what is going on? I get excited, and then I'll start spinning up wild stories, and I'll be on the internet for days, and I won't work. I'll just like, that's all I'll focus on. So I
love when Ukraine happened. You were just like, I'm so in this, dude.
Yeah, dude, I went too far. We talked on the phone constantly. Yeah. And we were sending each other news stuff. We were pulling stories from China. I was pulling news stories from China, Japan, Ukraine, Lithuania. Thanks for that tip, by the way. Hungary, all sorts of. I'm just reading shit and watching videos, and
I mean that's genuinely the only way you can figure out what's going on, because all of the media here is it's State Department mouthpiece.
It's so bad. Yeah, for both.
And it's so painfully obvious.
It's very sad. Those Eastern Bloc countries are like, how about everyone calm the fuck down? Like,
I mean, like,
I think Hungary's prime minister is like, we don't even want to think about them violate. Why are you saying that? Like, why are you saying that?
You sent me that video of who it was his.
The prime minister of Hungary.
Yeah, just basically being like, no, we don't want NATO weapons in Hungary. Well, we can take care of ourselves. We don't want this, we don't want to be the next one to go down.
Yeah, that's it. They kept saying, why is everyone trying to escalate this? Like, we need to get peace. He's like, we all need to talk. Let's hear the Russians out. He's like, you guys out west didn't fucking go through what we went through. So like when you talk about Soviet aggression, like it's fun for you, but
we lived Soviet aggression.
It was
you didn't read about it.
Yeah. It's like it was real.
I mean, that's
shitty.
the thing is like all of the countries in Eastern Europe, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, everyone, they have all got to like maybe the people are one thing, but the leaders of those countries, there is no way in hell. And if they believe this, then they're just fucking pie in the sky. They cannot believe that NATO would like fully mobilize to stop an invasion of Estonia or Hungary or Romania or even Poland. Like they don't care if Germany gets invaded, it's on. You know, maybe Austria or maybe Finland or Sweden. You know, even though I don't think is Sweden a part of NATO. I don't think so.
No, they're not. They're not.
No, okay, good for them. You know, if one of like the NATO countries gets invaded or attacked,
it's on.
Then it's full warfare. But they are not going to do anything more than like kind of like basic obligatory. You know, okay, we'll send 10,000 troops over there and maybe help you guys out or help you organize. But they're not going to mobilize NATO to stop an invasion of Lithuania.
No,
they don't give a shit about Lithuania. They never gave a shit about Lithuania.
No, I'll harken back to. I think that this is probably the most profound thing that Ben Crow's ever said, and I love it. We have to make peace profitable. We have to. Like we cannot continue to fucking kill each other. Like that's not the way. War is. Read Eagle Against the Sun and you'll understand how awful war is.
War should be the absolute last resort.
No, it shouldn't
life
even
and death.
It should not even be on the table. And it's easy. And you know, there's a part of me that I want to, you know, express this. It's very hypocritical because like I think war is awesome because I've been conditioned since I was a little kid to think it's fucking badass. And I know that if something popped off like this, I'd be like, well, I'm going to go experience this. And I know that I would hate it, but I would want to do it. Right. Like I feel very obligated. It's definitely been brainwashed into me and it's still, and I'm very fascinated by it. I'm a man of extremes, but just reading these accounts. So I'm a hypocrite when I say this.
Military history is fascinating.
It is. It's super fascinating. I love it, but it's awful and we should make it illegal. And I want to just keep reiterating that. It's horrible. We shouldn't do this. It's a zero. So it's everyone.
No one wins.
Think about,
no one's going to win.
Think about how much intellectual capital we lost in World War I, when millions of people, artists, poets, scientists, just French, you know, I think of the French where they're just really thrown into the meat grinder against the Germans and the British, and just think about how many and German people, young German, and then again in World War II, think about how much intellectual capital we've lost during those. Russia lost like 17 or 20 million people. Who knows? Yeah. There could have been someone that was smart enough. It was
bad enough that the Russian birth rate didn't recover until I think the 70s or 80s.
It's stupid. Like it's stupid. But here, you know, I'm going to leave everyone. Well, no, I'm not going to leave you guys with this. But
the Russians lost 27 million.
Jeez, I was even close.
Between that is civilian and military casualties.
Doesn't matter. It's a lot of people.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they took the brunt of it. I do want to say this. My grandpa, when he was getting ready to pass, never forget this. He was it's kind of, this would be a little bit longer of a story. He used to He used to watch the Pearl Harbor tapes around like Thanksgiving, and then he would watch him, and then he'd get like kind of racist towards Japanese people, and he was in a nursing home, so like my mom had to take the tapes away. He would just get all fucking.
My grandfather.
I gotta keep going.
My grandfather fought in World War II in the Pacific, and for real, my mom made me hide my Pokemon cards when he came to visit.
That's so funny.
Because it was just like they tried to murder him and they killed his best friend. He's got beef with them.
So so we'd have to hide, but then we would take him shopping, and He like a nice Japanese, like someone helped him and he felt really guilty. He's like, she was nice. But anyways, long story short, as he got towards the end, he's like, I think about war a lot, and I think it's just a form of population control. He's like, he's like, I think about all those American boys, those German boys, English, Japanese boys that died. And he goes, imagine what the population would be if they didn't. He's like, I think it's just a form of population control. So maybe that's what this next one is about. It's just a form of population control. We've gotten too overpopulated, and it's just a self-destruct beacon in our brains that it's time to just do a great reset. I don't know. Fuck that. Don't believe it, but it's something to think about. And I thought I would kind of freak you guys out at the end of this podcast.
What is that? What did I just read something today. What is it? An anecdote that there are more people alive. There have been more people alive in our lifetime than there have been people alive, period. Like previously, like the entirety of the human race, like through civilization, at least tracking numbers and shit. That like it's like you on your morning commute to work, like if you went to an office, you pass more people on your morning commute to work than most people met in their lifetime during the Middle Ages.
Oh, I think
there's so many, like the time we live in now is an aberration.
Really, I'm kind of freaking out right now because I can't decide whether you're full of shit or you're right.
No, I look it up.
I
might be full of shit. I don't know.
I probably won't, but it's fun to think about. That's interesting. I don't know. That is really.
It's kind of brain. I mean, imagine that. There's just like fuck, dude. That's insane.
It's either a mind fuck or I think you're full of shit. I haven't decided yet.
That's fair.
That's I like that. Well, the bottom line, folks, is this. You got to be the change you want to see in this world. We are all waking up. We are all full of love, and we are all have the capacity to be amazing human beings. What are you going to do that's going to better yourself and better your community? That's what we got to be focused on, is pulling people up and not pushing people down. We, over here at the Riks Mind Podcast, appreciate your support. We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you think we're worthy, give us that 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Look down there, click that like and subscribe button, or I'll kill John. I will debase myself and go. It's going to happen eventually. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for listening. And
just as a closing statement, I've seen so much shit on the internet and on TV and in real life of people in the United States hating on Russian people that are just literally Russian. Don't be a fucking idiot. Russian people have nothing to do with this. Blame their government. We don't, even the United States, we don't have anything to do with our government. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. Don't blame Russian people.
Yeah, that's kind of, if you're doing that, fuck you. But anyways, that's all we got for you guys. We'll see you next week.